If you're still pouring budget into the same 2 or 3 traffic sources and praying they'll keep delivering, you're not scaling. You're gambling. Because it's 2026 and the affiliate traffic map has been redrawn. Some platforms that used to print money now come with roadblocks, higher costs, weaker signals, more restrictions, more noise, and at the same time, new highways opened up wide. So in this video, I'm going to map out where affiliates are actually scaling in 2026 and which roads are quietly turning into dead ends. By the end, you will know the hottest platforms for reach right now, the channels that look big, but stale when you try to scale, and smarter way to structure your traffic mix so your campaigns keep growing, even when one source changes overnight. Quick spoiler, one video platform is now doing 200 billion views per day, and Europe basically threw a wrench into how performance works in Meta. So if you buy traffic, or you're manage budgets, or you're an affiliate trying to scale, you want to hear this. Let's dive in. Here's the mindset for 2026. Scale doesn't live in one magic source anymore. It lives in combinations and in speed. So the first, short form videos. Shorts, TikTok, Reels. This isn't brand awareness anymore. This is a performance channel with reach that is hard to ignore. In 2026, the affiliates scaling fastest are the ones who can turn a message into a 15 to 30-second creative that actually holds attention, because discovery is happening inside the feeds and the inventory keeps growing as platforms keep prioritizing short form. If you're not testing short form, paid or organic, you're basically opting out of one of the biggest scale engines available right now. A few years ago, people treated influencer marketing like a separate universe. In 2026, it's just another performance slate. If you're structured it correctly, the winning pattern is simple. A creator makes a short, authentic piece of content with a hook, a quick demo or a pitch, and a direct lead. Scale comes with volume, not one celebrity deal, but dozens of or hundreds of small creators talking to niche audiences that actually trust them. And the best part, more creators are willing to work on performance terms, so it's closer to affiliate economics than old school brand sponsorships. This is the quiet one. Not as flashy as TikTok, not as official as Google, but in 2026, it's quietly becoming a real distribution engine. Think about it like this. A broadcast channel is basically an email list with near instant delivery. WhatsApp channels, which rolled out globally in 2023, gave marketers a one-way lane to reach subscribers directly. And affiliates are doing the same thing with Telegram, Discord, even SMS. Some build channels with thousands of subscribers and drop curated promo links with consent on a schedule. Where this shines is time-sensitive promos. Flash sales, limited coupons, deadline funnels, anything where speed matters. It's not always Facebook scale, sure, but it's often higher engagement and you own that audience relationship much more directly. And here's the 2026 point. As tracking and targeting gets harder across big platforms, direct distribution becomes more valuable because it's a channel you can actually control. Another lane to watch is retail media. Amazon Ads, Walmart Connect, and similar retailer platforms. Historically, it was for brands, but affiliates promoting e-commerce products can leverage these marketplaces too, because the intent is already there. Retail media spend keeps growing as budgets shift beyond Google or Facebook into commerce environments and mid-tier platforms. The practical takeaway: advertisers are diversifying, and that creates openings on platforms where competition is lighter and pricing can still make sense. Don't sleep on quiet scalers like Pinterest, Snapchat, X, or rising regional apps. Anywhere your audience actually spends time and where the auction isn't fully saturated yet. And fifth, and this is where too many affiliates still make a mistake in 2026, specialized ad networks and alternative formats. Let's define this clearly. An ad network is a performance platform that connects advertisers with direct publisher inventory across thousands of websites and apps. So instead of buying one platform's audience, you're buying scalable reach across the open web with much more placement level control. Pop, video style formats, banners, and in page push, these channels have matured a lot. And they give you two things that walled gardens don't always give you: scale and control. You can test fast, optimize transparently, and expand into geos and placements that aren't overcrowded by the same advertisers running the same playbook. Top affiliates don't treat networks like a lottery, they treat them like a system. Placements, testing, and quality control, scale comes from that. Ad networks especially powerful for affiliates in verticals that aren't always welcome everywhere. Think iGaming, betting, crypto, sweepstakes, non-mainstream utilities, certain finance angles, and other non-mainstream offers where compliance on the big platforms can slow you down or block you entirely. Even for mainstream e-commerce and apps, networks are often the fastest way to find new geo pockets, test multiple creatives at speed, and scale winners with transparent placement optimization. And yes, I'm speaking from our side of the market too. At HilltopAds, we see what happens when our affiliates diversify. Now, and this is a very important part, even if you choose the right channels, scaling in 2026 can still get harder, even with a solid offer. But once you understand the main headwinds, regulation, privacy changes, weaker optimization signals on big platforms, and higher traffic costs, you'll stop thinking my offer is dead and start fixing what actually blocks growth. And from the ad network side, we see the same pattern all the time. Affiliates don't fail because they picked the wrong offer. They fail because they rely on one or two sources too heavily. And when that source changes, results drop overnight. All right, let's break down the biggest scaling bottlenecks in 2026 and the practical ways top affiliates adapt. Not all traffic roads are smooth in 2026. Some of the biggest, most trusted channels of the past decade have hit speed bumps or brick walls due to market saturation, policy changes, or rising costs. Let's break down a few. First, meta ads in the European Union. Consent changes. If you're on Facebook or Instagram and target Europe, you've probably felt it. Meta had to adjust how ads work in the EU under regulatory pressure. Users can share less data, which means less personalization and weaker optimization signals. The practical outcome is straightforward. Audience pools shrink, targeting gets noisier, and scaling in EU geos often costs more or take longer to stabilize. So, if a campaign used to copy paste from the United States into Germany or France in 2026, it can struggle. Not because your offer is bad, but because the environment changed. Second, Google's privacy moves and attribution vows. Chrome still owns over half the browser market, so its privacy direction matters. Google didn't flip a single cookies off switch. The timeline kept changing, but the real trend is clear: more privacy, less signal. Chrome has tested things like IP protection, and other major browsers, especially Safari, already blocks much of third party tracking by default. For affiliates, the outcome is simple: harder attribution, smaller retargeting pools, noisier optimization, plus modal or partial conversions on mobile since ADT. Scaling still works, but it's less automatic and requires cleaner measurement and channel diversification. Third, rising CPMs and cost of entry. Beyond privacy and tracking, the simple reality is traffic got more expensive again. In recent years, CPMs have climbed across major platforms. TikTok, for example, saw roughly a 15.6% CPM growth in early 2025, and Meta, Snap, YouTube also faced CPM inflation. The signal is clear. More advertisers are competing for the same inventory, so scaling costs more unless your CR improves. A campaign that worked at $10 CPM can break at $15 CPM with the same funnel. That's why in 2026, affiliates who want real scale don't rely on one or two sources. They diversify into cheaper, less saturated channels and alternative networks to keep acquisition costs under control. And fourth, ad fatigue and creative burnout. In 2026, a big scaling ceiling is simply the audience. People scroll past obvious ads, skip pre-rolls, and block what they can. That's why highly polished, too ad-like creatives often underperform, while raw, authentic, UGC-style content wins. It doesn't trigger the instant, "this is an ad" reaction. The practical impact: your best creative won't last 6 months anymore. Wear out happens faster, so scaling requires creative velocity and channel diversification. The old one platform plus one winning ad approach hits a wall, not just because of platform changes, but because humans tune it out. So the real takeaway is this: the old default channel playbook stalls because signal is weaker, rules differ by region, costs are up, and creatives burn out faster. Scale didn't disappear, it moved. So what's the move? Build a traffic mix that doesn't let one algorithm decide your revenue. That's where net network laying can be a smart piece of the system, especially if you want scale outside the most crowded auctions. On HilltopAds, that means controllable formats you can build processes around. Pop under or pop up, in-page push, banner, or video like Vest or video slider, plus multi-tag units to run multiple formats efficiently. This lane is especially valuable when you need scale without betting everything on the algorithm. Whether you're running restricted verticals or simply expanding geo by geo with placement level control. The point isn't more traffic. The point is a lane where you can test fast, optimize by placement, expand into new geos, and keep control when signals get messy elsewhere. Alright, let's make this practical for 2026. Here are 6 strategies that consistently separate affiliates who scale from affiliates who plateau. Stop depending on the one hero source. Aim for 3 to 5 meaningful channels so one platform change doesn't kill your month. Build a short form UGC creative engine. Hook fast, prove fast, CTA fast, then repurpose winners across channels. Design for imperfect attribution, cleaner tracking, consistent IDs, and decisions based on final stage reality, not one dashboard. Add an ad network lane and optimize it like a pro. Test cleanly, watch placement level CVR, cut losers, scale proven pockets. That's it. Treat creative refresh as a production. New angles weekly, variations in parallel, and a simple scorecard that tells you what's improving CPA. Measure holistically. Set KPIs up front, give tests and up data, and judge by downstream quality and overall lift, not just platform reported ROAs. There's a lot to take in, I know. But here's the point. If you build the system, you stop depending on luck and you start depending on the process. Alright, quick wrap. 2026 is a wider traffic landscape. Short form creators, communities, and open web inventory are now real scaling lanes alongside the big platforms. The advantage goes to affiliates who build a multi-channel setup and can adapt fast when signals, policies, or costs shift. From our side at HilltopAds, we focus on being one of those scalable lanes. With formats like pop under or pop up, in-page push, banners, invest, or video slider, so you can test faster, expand into new geos, and keep more control over your optimization. So here's the question to leave you with. If your number one traffic source stopped working tomorrow, would you still be able to scale? If the answer is not really, that's your next move. Expand your mix. Test the channels you've been putting off. Build a creator pipeline. Strengthen first-party audiences. And then add at least one ad network lane you can optimize by placement and scale with discipline. If this was useful, subscribe to the HilltopAds channel. We'll keep publishing practical breakdowns on traffic creatives, optimization, and scaling strategies for affiliates. Drop a comment with what traffic source that's working best for you right now and what you want us to cover next. And if you want to test HilltopAds after this video, we've added a promo code HELLO2026. It gives you a 20% plus for your first deposit of at least $100 or more. The link in the description. Dan is here. See you in the next one, and good luck scaling in 2026.